Listen and then write, so there should not be any commotion. Please sit everybody. This press conference, has been called by the Committee for the Release of Political Prisoners. This is to enable Arun Ferreira to address you and to tell you, because you are representatives of the media, what he went through. When we say Committee for the Release of Political Prisoners, we mean political prisoners, not any prisoner. Who are the political prisoners? We do not consider people like Kalmadi or A. Raja or the would-be prisoners, P. Chidambaram and Sharad Pawar as political prisoners. They haven't yet gone inside when they go. We will consider them as criminals. Most of the people who rule this country may come in that category. Some of them are inside today. I mentioned some names because they committed theft and robbery. And some others are inside because they committed rape and murder. See some of the ministers in Rajasthan, for instance, you read about Banwari Devi. She was not only raped, but was also murdered. It was done by the people who rule this country. So they are not the political prisoners. Today you read in the newspapers, that's official. Unofficial may be much higher. 42% of the children in India are underweight because they are malnutrition. Not undernutrition, malnourished. That's what the Prime Minister of India says. A country where 82% of the people have 20 rupees a day to live on, you can imagine. There can be revolts, there can be rebellions, there can be violence. And there can be people who read that rebellion, that revolt. We consider Arun Ferreira, we consider, now he is not in the prison, a political prisoner, because in that divide, on one side, to rule this country and steal, rob, rape and murder, and on the other side, those who sacrifice their life, who undergo torture, because they need those who are victims of torture, victims of robbery, theft. So Arun Ferreira is a political prisoner. Now Arun Ferreira will address you.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the past 2.5 years. The past 2.5 years had tremendous support from friends, family, and sections of the media. And I would start off by saying thanks to all my friends, my family. And especially a team of lawyers. Like the lawyers in Bombay and also the lawyers in Nagpur, Gondia, Chandrapur, Gadchiroli. Without their help, actually, I wouldn't be able to sit here probably and address you. Before I go into the question of, I thought it would be best to give a picture about life as a political prisoner, life in jail, what we went through, what things are happening, and it will give us a glimpse about the society that we live in.
I just want to say one thing now that Arun has started speaking. I mean, the clicking of the cameras is really causing a bit of disturbance. So for the next 10-15 minutes, if we could just hear Arun speak. Okay, because his voice is really not carrying because of the clicking of cameras. So just for 10-15 minutes, please.
I thought of giving a picture about life as a political prisoner, what we went through in jail, and what it will give a sense about the democracy we live in. So that's why I thought of giving a picture about what we went through in jail. Actually, the question of political prisoners is the most difficult thing because it's linked to democracy. The country in which live in and any state, I guess, will deny the existence of political prisoners in their own country. So in India too, we'll have to ask the person who's saying there are political prisoners. SAB will say, other lawyers will say, people's lawyers will say, but the government will deny it. So when it comes to any numbers, any figures, any statistics, you will get none. I'll give a small example. In November, this was I think so December, during the time of the Vidhan Sabha in Nagpur. What is the question of political prisoners? During the Vidhan Sabha, the local Nagpur bus corporation, which the bus transport system is privatized. So the entire what we have in Bombay, the BST and whatever is privatized now and it's given to a company called Star Bus. So about 600 employees from there went on strike saying that we want to be permanent. The government did not hear their demands, did not do anything. They were immediately arrested in unlawful writing and they were kept there for 15 days in jail. Some of them were sent to Bandara jail, some of them were sent to Amravati jail, just for the fact that they are fighting for their rights to be permanent workers. This is the young working class which is suppressed so brutally, and at the very same time the Vidhan Sabha isn't sitting. It gives a picture of what are political prisoners. Now when you go a little beyond that, we talk about movements, how movements are being suppressed. I guess what I have read in the papers in the past few years, probably the world outside has gone much ahead. Like Jayatapur is going on, anti-POSCO movement is going on, movements are just rising and there are political movements happening in every corner of the state. I will concentrate on basically the political prisoners of Nagpur. When I was taken in my last PCR in September, one of the interrogators had asked me, so what do you feel about Operation Green Hunt? I don't know. I have read whatever I've read in the papers. I can't go beyond that because I've never spoken to people. I've not spoken to people on the field, so I can't tell you anything. But I told you one thing. I've seen that in the past 1 year, Operation Green Hunt has increased the number of Naxal under trials twice, triple. In October 2010, the number of Naxal under trials in Vidarbha were 40. In December 2011, it's gone up to 125. This is the face of Operation Green Hunt that I have seen. I don't know what is going out, I don't know what I've read from the papers, but it gives a picture of what is political prisonerhood and the state repression. There is a sense of that, and then the question of democracy. So when we talk about political prisoners, it's a question actually of talking about democracy in this country. One of the questions which I regularly asked to me is, how is prison life actually? What do you say? What do you feel about prison? How did it treat you in prison? Actually, I would say prisons in India basically have their own British style system running till now. I'll tell you, first 1 year I was kept in a place called Anda Barrack. It's in Nagpur Jail. There is Anda Barrack. In all the jails there are Anda Barrack. It's supposed to be a high security cell. We were kept there and we could not meet anybody for probably, I was kept there for an entire 1 year. I could only meet my co-accused. So what the government, which is supposed to have banned solitary confinement, say about 20 years ago, is continuing it in a different name. On the name of security, on the name of high security, on the name of various names, but it's continuing the old British style system of what you call solitary confinement and all that. Another example of the British type jails is that they have till now in jails is this old prison manual which is of 1894. 1894 prison manual is of no practical use anywhere. Even the jailers tell us that if we go to use the prison manual, you won't be able to live in jail, and if you go to use it, we won't be able to live in jail. The prison manual out there doesn't work. So ultimately it's the jailer who decides. It's his manmani, as they call it, arbitrary thought that he, according to the prison manual, you are supposed to get one letter per month to read and also to send. That is, say, 100 years ago. Now you can give much more. You can give much more, but the jailer will decide them. So the rules, they kept in the prison manual, but the rest, all the functionings are by the jailer's money. He will decide whether you require to write, you need to write more letters. He decides whether you need to get more food. He decides on those things. So the question is, what I'm trying to say is that there is a prison manual, but it's so archaic that basically it is the jailer who decides everything. And if you dare to talk about the jailer's corruption, you dare to talk about corruption in the jail, your letters writing, he'll come and tell you the next day, take care, you are not supposed to write more than one letter a month. You will get such donkeys as you call it. That's part of the system. Another thing I would like to talk about jail, which recently it's coming in a lot of time in the media, is that with regards to 2G accused, is that the jail is a great equalizer. I think so that's a big fallacy. The hierarchies that remain in society exist in the jail also. Whether it's caste, whether it's class, whether it's money. I've seen, if in jail, if you have the money, you will get a good place to sleep. If you don't have the money, you have to sleep in the barrack next to a toilet. If you don't have the money, you have to sleep next to the water tank, and you'll be wet throughout the night on the cold season. So it's, what they say is that jail is a great equalizer. I don't think what my experience is there is that in jail itself also money causes the shots to an extent. Another question which people have been asking me is, what have we been doing as political prisoners in jail? Basically, when I'm in jail, a big time of ours has gone into helping people. There are lots of applications to be done, and the fact that I would know some sort of English to write an application, to write a petition, this has taken much of our time, and then reading papers, reading books, that has also been part of our daily routine. I will go to the main topic, which I feel that media has played in the past 3 or 4 years, has focused on the question of rearrests. Actually, for under trial prisoners, Naxal related, there are 2 massive problems which actually stand before them. One is that since January 2011 till now, they have not been produced before the Gadcholi Sessions Court at all. This you will find nowhere in the state, but in Gadcholi it is happening. In Gadcholi, people are not taken to the Sessions Court. Why? Because the police is required in Naxal Virodi Abhiyan. So you get a situation that from January till now, no court production takes place. So trials are going on, witnesses are are examined, but the accused is kept in jail. He is not allowed to go to court. If this very situation would be in Bombay, it would be hangama by now. But it's in the corner of Gadchiroli, no one takes care about it. This is called the free trial that many of the tribal Adivasis have to face out there. The second problem which I think so I'd like to focus on is the question of rearrest. The question of rearrest is not something which has started from my case. Actually, as far as I've been in jail from 2007, this has been a recurrent event. There's someone in 2007 by the name of Maoist. Actually, I was not able to get the photos of his rearrest, but this exact same style in which I was rearrested, he also was picked up. He was in September 2007. He came out of the gates, abducted, taken. For 6 months, he was sent back to Nagpur Jail. Again, he was released. That was in April 2008. Got released. Again, picked up at the gate in a similar fashion. Sent back to jail. This time to Bandara Jail. When he was released from Bandara Jail, again he was picked up and then sent to Balaghat Jail. This is the rule of law. The point I'm trying to make is, it's not a question whether he is Naxal or terrorist or whatever. It's a question is that the courts, you have put these number of cases on him, and the courts, if they have ordered him to be acquitted, if they have ordered him to be released of bail, it is a rule of law that holds that he should be released. But the police are not following this procedure. That is the case of Malesh. Ever since that, when this issue of rearrest took place, we in jail had a hunger strike. It lasted for about 27 days. I don't know if many of you all remember, but at that time the Honorable Home Minister had asked the police department to hold an inquiry into the issues that we have held before us and which have brought forth. The police department did an inquiry. They did an inquiry about the cases put on us. And then what happened next was, his last suggestion of the police department is that all these people who are on hunger strike should be distributed in various jails. This is how they solved the problem. This happened in April 2008, and the question of rearrest has been going on. Now, what happened in 2011 with me, September, I think so many of you know about it. I would just bring 2 or 3 facts before you all. I don't know whether it has come before. Is that we have been commenting about rearrest for quite some time. At least from jail we have been commenting, and many of the lawyers have been trying to raise this fact about rearrest time and again. But something is worth noting is that even the principal district judge of Gadchiroli, now let me remind you that the principal district judge is the chief judicial authority in the district of Gadchiroli. Which you could say he is the guy who supervises the entire court functioning of a district. He has commended upon the modus operandi of the police of rearresting persons. This is one of his quotations in his judgment with regards to another trial by the name of Nagpur. His petition at the moment of rearrest is pending before the High Court. I just read the wordings to it. Want a copy, any of you all can read it on the net. I think so it's on the net, and or you could I could provide you one. This is what the judge says. It is noticed that it has become the modus operandi of the police to involve any person branding him as an Naxalite. If any person is resident of that locality, if there are certain incidents, the persons from the area are implicated. The accused, Vishwanath, that is Ganpat, is the accused before me in a number of cases, and it is noticed that as and when he is acquitted in one case, he is implicated in another case with intent to languish him in jail. That is his tragedy. This is the judge saying. Be that as it may, when there is no evidence, even the slightest against the accused to prove the charges, the accused has to be acquitted. This is in one judgment. He has given similar quotations in about 2 or 3 judgments. I'll read another one, just a short one. It appears that the accused is branded as a hardcore Naxalite and police with intent to languish him in jail. As soon as he is released from one offence, booked him in another offence and thus kept him in jail. The accused was in jail in connection with another offence of Bhamragar, and on warrant he was released after the bail, and then supplementary charge sheet was submitted. That is the statement of the PSI. He did it as per the instructions of the Superintendent of Police. Would mean that the higher police officers are bent upon to keep Vishwanath behind the bar and solely with the intention he is implicated in such a case. That amounts to a curtailment of fundamental right of the accused, that is the right of liberty for which the accused can prosecute the concerned court as well as prosecute the concerned officers as well as claim the damages against the state. This is said by the principal district judge of Kachori. The judge has said this, the judge has served such judgments even to the police department for the question of rearrest continues. In the petition which my lawyers have filed, we try to compile a chart of how many people actually get rearrested. Now these are the figures that the police department is going to give us. But most of the people who get rearrested at the gates, they get arrested and they come back in the same jail. So that's how we know. Or some of the true letters or something, we know that they are in other jails. Now, this is a list of some 28 people. I am one of them, so you could call them 27, excluding me. All these people have been released on bail or acquitted, except for me and another person. All have been released on bail. But as soon as they go out, they have been arrested and they have been brought back. Some of them, some of the names out here, you will see in the past 6 months, you will get the same name twice. Because they are coming to jail, acquire bail, go out, get arrested again, come into jail, acquire bail, go out. This is a cycling which is recurring. The question I am trying to make is that there are various Supreme Court judgments saying that if the state has cases against someone, they should say so when the bail application is before the court. My bail application was before the court. They said these are the 2 cases on me. Similar is to be done in any case where the bail application is before the court. But the police department does not do a thing like this and waits for a person to be acquitted and then goes to rearrested. The method or the modus operandi which this judge talks about, I'll try to explain it to an extent, because through my story I am able to give you a picture about how the system works. See, when I was arrested in 2007, there was not a single FIR registered on me. My name was not mentioned in any charge sheet. I have to Maris, RTI as a founder, that my name is not mentioned in any charge sheets. So in 2007, I have been put in about 8 cases on me. But after that, in due course of time, suddenly my name starts coming, or name or some Arun or some wolf name or some allies or whatever, starts coming in some charge sheets as an absconder. Like this 22 cases which I was put in. My name starts coming in a charge sheet filed in 2008 and 2009 as Arun as absconder. After that, I have not been told for the past 4 years that I am absconder or I am in jail. Even the court has not been told that I am an absconder while I am in jail. But at the time of my release, these very 2 cases which I have been shown, or my name has been shown as absconder, I have been rearrested in them. And I am taken to a court and the court is told, the local court is told, see, this is a person who has been absconding since the past 3 years. I am telling the court, no, I have not been absconding since the past 3 years, I have been in jail. But no, the papers show that I have been absconding, I am absconding. So I am back into jail. This is the process, this is the modus operandi which the principal judge talks about and is going on. These 28 people, I can talk to about each case about that, but it wouldn't make sense, it will take lots of time. But this is the entire process which takes place, and this is the thing which we have tried, the lawyers have tried to put it up as a petition before the High Court to show how the actual atrocities are being done. So, lastly, I would try to say is that the question about rearresting at the gate, this is a point I would like to make is, to an extent we have thought about it, is why the department, the state, has a practice like this. Because like 8 cases were put on me, he can very well come to the police jail and take me in a production warrant in 4 cases. But he do not do a thing like this. They wait till the time I'm released and wait to get me arrested at the gate. The only logical reason that seems from it is that they want to show that a new Naxalite is arrested. They want to show someone is arrested who we can call a Naxalite. So in the 4 years, the same person, I have not been released, but in the same person, I have been shown on the records, has been arrested twice. So the number of people arrested by the police, if it was first it was 20, it has now shot up to 40. No new people, but the same old people who have been released from jail have come back and they have been shown as statistics are doubled, and probably I don't know what else is doubled in terms of the process. Probably comes. Anyway, I would yeah, we go into questions. Lastly, I would try to say that there are many more political prisoners like this. In short, the case of Sudhir Dhavale comes to mind. I would not go into the details of his charge sheet or of his case, but he is basically victimized because of his thoughts. He is supposed to have written a book long time ago, published it in Bombay, but the Gondia police have arrested it and shown that as reasons for his support of Naxalism. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, the book was released, I don't remember when, but I think so about 5 or 6 years ago. But suddenly in 2010, the Gondia police arrest him and say this book is evidence that he supports Naxalism, which is totally false. So there are many political prisoners like that, and it's good if the media or civil society takes up the cause, because sometimes things that happen in the corners sometimes are known. Like the last time my lawyer actually came from this very same state, and he said it's good that Arun Ferreira was rearrested because in the case of me being rearrested, the plight of many other people, political prisoners who are suffering through the same process, at least by this process it is highlighted. So this is shortly what I would like to say.
So thank you, Arun. So we will be taking questions, and Arun will be taking questions, but what Arun has said just now clearly shows that there is a design, there is a pattern for the state to keep out of certain circulation certain persons who are dissenting against the policies of the state, who think differently, pick them up, arrest them, keep them behind bars as long as possible. One issue was of rearrest, but another thing as a lawyer I think I should bring forward is the number of cases they put against them. It's not that you arrest them in one case, okay, wait for acquittal, but even then you put 10, 20 cases against them together at the same time, so that it's almost impossible for them to get out on bail. Because 1 case, 2 cases, 3 cases, how many bail applications are they going to find? So you make it almost impossible. And once they manage to get acquittals, you rearrest them again. And as he correctly said, it's not just 2-3 persons, but it's a whole lot of people. In fact, just yesterday we came to know that 3 people who had gotten out on bail have been rearrested again at the gates of Nagpur Jail, almost exactly the way Arun and the other people who have been arrested. So what I'm saying is that it is a thing which is constantly happening, and it is repeatedly happening. Now the thing is, please don't put any questions you want to Arun, but I just want you to remember and recognize that many of his cases are still sub judice. He's merely out on bail. And because several of his cases are sub judice, I mean, asking him about the nitty-gritty of the cases may be difficult, because as you all know, we have another big thing hanging on our heads, is a law called contempt of court, where, I mean, you cannot talk about the matter which is still pending in court, but otherwise, and please, whoever wants to ask a question, please introduce yourselves.
This is Yogesh Medini. The last time your family had supporters.
Yes,
last time your family and supporters had contacted the DCP, but has any other representation reached the State Department and the PS? Now, what is the progress of these things?
asking me whether any other idea actually.
Your family has met the DGP, but have you also contacted any higher channels like the State Home Department? And if yes, what is the fate of any talks?
I mean, I don't think so. When it's spoken of family, my family is not very much
Just a minute, someone.
Hi, I'm Rashmi from NDTV. You were arrested on the charges of nationalism. So, what do you want to say on that? And also, when you were arrested, there was your statement that came out which said that this pardon for nationalism was given by Shiv Sena, and also Pardon Thakure's name had come in that statement. Anything that you want to say, whether that statement was made under caution or whether that statement was made by you?
I just want to say that the statement you are talking about is another entire issue where narco-analysis was being used at that time. And the repeated times accused were made to go on, undergo narco-analysis till the state got what they claimed they wanted. So this thing which you were talking about was with regards to narco-analysis and which was said under the effect of narco-analysis.
I talk about it because that particular narco was conducted at Bangalore, and narco-analysis, I can talk about it because it gives a sense about what it is. It's you go into some sort of nasha, but you remember some of the questions. And I remember the question which was particularly this. I was asked when I was a student activist, which organizations you have worked with and which organizations have worked with them and all that. I mentioned many organizations. DPS, which is the organization that I used to work in. I spoke about the Congress organization, the BJP organization, the Shiv Sena organization. The problem is that the person who was handling the narco-analysis at that time, if you remember, it was Dr. Malini. She did not know about Shiv Sena. I told her who Shiv Sena, who is the leader of Shiv Sena. At that time, and then after I came to know that suddenly my students have been joined. And then I realized that Abhaya and Nan case, that the Kerala case, is that the Bangalore FSL has been regularly doing getting the narco tapes and then editing them and joining parts of it to make the prosecution happy.
What are the charges about nationalism?
They are false charges. I was acquitted in it.
I am running from Stanley. You made Lawrence Shelby arrested and waiting. And that time, the prosecutors had said that you were the chief communicator of propaganda of Naxal. And you, along with Nagpur Central Jail, Bangalore and Mumbai, all four of you were running and outfit there. What do you have to say about that?
Can you take the mic near?
I was arrested at the station. And I was joined up with them, and the entire police department made a story that we went to Deekshabhoomi and we were planning to blast it. There was no story like that and nothing actually held in the court also. So this entire story that we were planning to do some bombs, I think so that's all false. I was arrested at the station.
Surrender from the Indian Express. How many cases do you have pending at present? How many is in disposal?
And one case I'm on bail.
Yeah.
The rest have all been acquitted.
All. So it's 10, right? Or 8?
Yeah, actually there's one case on me which we had gone on a hunger strike. So I was charged on 309 IPC, that suicide. That means that is the joke of the country, that we went on hunger strike to tell about the atrocities in jail, and we get another case on us. It was good. Actually, I think so. The judgment is on the net. The judge actually threw it out. She said that a person, if they fight for their rights, it does not become a crime. So at the moment, one case which I'm on bail.
So basically, you want to say that you're a social activist.
Yeah.
And the cases against you are all family cases.
Yeah.
What kind of abuse were you subjected to within the prison? Physical harm or manhandling? How bad?
Within the prison?
Yes.
Actually, within the prison, you can say it's a mix. The state's attitude towards us is slightly mixed. on one hand, the lower prison authorities, they're very cordial to us because they know what type of people we are. In fact, and they treat us quite well. But as you go higher up, the higher ups they are politically biased. I'll give you an example. In November and December, I think so November, one of the CIG or a higher level authority came to the prison for his yearly rounds. We as a representative, about 10 of us, we went to meet him. There was a problem about toilets, a problem about coal production, various problems. We went to meet him. He heard it, he said, okay, fine. Within the next 10 days, among the 10 of us, 9 of them, excepting me, 9 of them were transferred to other jails. 9 of them were transferred to Amravati jail. Now anybody who knows about Vidarbha will understand that person who stays in Gadchiroli, for him, Nagpur itself is very far off. To go to Amravati is like, for a person who stays in the interior of Gadchiroli, it is like traveling from Nagpur to Bombay. That type of situation, and it takes much more time. So the higher level authorities are much more biased. And like what I said is that the nations the CS are as I think so the political enemies.
Will any physical violence?
No, not. There has been with others, but not with me at least. So you're talking about police custody or just... Actually, we are...
Interrogation, yeah.
Interrogation, actually. During police custody, it was torture, at least in the first part, it was torture all the way. September, when I was... in May, when I was picked up, I think so all of you have seen my earlier photo. And seeing that photo and this photo, there's a large difference. Actually, when I saw the photo in the papers, I could not recognize myself. One side of mine is totally swollen, and my ear is bleeding. There's a big difference between that. I was physically tortured, slapped, hit, made to do stretching, and various other things. My co-accused, petrol was inserted in the rectum, and various other standard methods they have done. I would like to say something is that I feel to an extent the state has learned the technique, the technique of how to make the person suffer and not show marks. That is a technique I remember when I was being tortured, there were 2 or 3 police officers talking. One police officer was telling me that if you put your leg in that manner, it will break. I don't know, but he knew that if my leg was bended slightly like that, it would break. So he told me, no, you put your leg like this. I was thinking, this is the guy who is torturing me. But yet he cares for me. No, he cares that if my leg breaks and I complain in the court, he'll but they have learned the technique that how the body should be positioned, how I should be hit, in which place I should be hit. So the marks don't show and they get their work done. Now, some of you have read, there's last year I think so, the government was trying to pass a prevention of torture bill, if you remember it. I had written a small piece on it. Actually, I could say that the prevention of torture bill is more of a farce. It's trying to fulfill the obligations of the UN Convention Against Torture, where it has made it obligatory for all states, signatories of the convention, to pass laws to ban torture. But the government bill does no way of thing like that. In fact, people like us who are arrested under UPA will be denied that we can complain about torture. That is that part side of this.
Arun, this PrasannaMedia.com, how did you manage to go through this torture? How did you manage to cope and still remain sane?
I mean, sometimes I wonder how I did it. But I think so, somewhere down the line, when you do, through my activity, I realized that the state, I came to realize that the state, especially after 2001, there's a change. If you go to see after 2001, the state has become more and more to an extent aggressive. After 9/11, you could say that thoughts, actions people's thoughts and actions have become more and more criminal. Means the state labels them criminal. And somewhere down the line I felt that if, say at a time when I used to work among the slum dwellers during the riots 90 to 93, the state wouldn't be bothered if I would give, say, free fruits or free medicines to the slum dwellers. State wouldn't be bothered because it comes within the neoliberalization policy. But when I start talking about, talking to the poor that, and I start telling them this is the reason of your poverty, this is the reason why you are medically weak, that's where the state starts becoming unacceptable to me. So somewhere down the line I knew that the state was taking such positions. So it, you could say mentally, the day I got arrested, I've been reading stories and of torture and all. I knew that somehow they are down on the line, I also will get tortured.
Arun, this is Rajiv from TV News Channel. My question is that you talked about the differences of ideology between you and the state. What are those differences, and are those differences enough to establish that you are a political prisoner?
Actually, this is what the point I tried to say just before is that the ideology which the state sees as a threat. I'm not talking about, say, Naxalism, I'm not talking about anything like that. Now,
no, your personal ideology with the differences.
Let me speak about it. Is that any ideology which the state sees as a threat, they'll bring in something which they want to show that the reason for crushing it. You will go into the Jayatapur movement, the state will somehow someone who they say that is a Naxal. They'll go to the anti-POSCO movement, they'll say, there are Naxals there. Now in Anna Hazare's movement, they are saying Anna Hazare is, he has a coterie of anarchists and Maoists. They talk like that. So the state has that type of policy that whenever there is a movement which it sees red. And my ideology have been left. I have been a left activist. So definitely the state will definitely brand me as an accent tomorrow. So yes.
My question is that after the torturing by police, I am Kalpana Brahmane from News 9. After the torturing by police, after they will do some medicine or something?
The rule is that every 48 hours, a medical doctor has to examine us.
The doctor don't ask.
And I'll tell you. So the medical doctor sits with the police department, with the police officer. And if I say that, I was tortured, the doctor will nod. And it will be signed and it will be done. I see the records afterwards and I found out that there's no mention about my torture or anything else. I'll give an example.
The doctor knows, you are beaten by the police and tortured by the police. So they are not writing that notice something like this, that Baba isko ye hua hai.
And this happens. It happens.
There's no action there.
See, the point I'm trying to say is that the doctor who's working out there is actually working with the cops at that place. I'll give an example is that my co-accused, he had complained to the High Court that the petrol was put in him. He complained to the High Court. The High Court immediately, within 48 hours, ordered that he should be medically examined. He was medically examined. The doctor was there, and the SDPO was there, and the doctor gave the report that he had piles. So sometimes it's very tough. The police isn't close nexus with the doctors.
When we heard you quoting
Deekshabhoomi is right from Mumbai. A couple of years ago, there were reports that certain prisoners, incarcerating on allegations of indulging in Naxalite activities, were given newspapers with certain portions of the news blackened out. Did you go through something like that when you were?
Yeah, very often. In fact, some blackened out is cut. And it's any news which talks about the jail department is cut. Any just a few days before I was released, there was one of our jailers got arrested in a corruption case. He tried to take 5,000 or 10,000. I never got to read the news but he knew something was going on because the papers since then have been cut. So any news with regards to the jail department, even I think so in Jharkhand there was a minister Madhukar Kuda who was beaten up at the jail. I don't remember. That news totally cut off. There anything which deals with the jail department is cut. I don't know the logic behind it, but it's cut.
Two questions. Firstly, we heard you quoting Mr. Ahmed cracking down on the police modus operandi in your co-accused case. Are there any particular observations he has quoted with reference to your own case?
Hey, this judge which I'm quoting is not, I think so you got it wrong, it's not the present judge. It is the ex-principal judge. My new cases, earlier I had cases only in Gondia. So I never had a case in Gadchiroli. These new cases which are put on me is Gadchiroli cases. So nothing much. And the day that my last case was on the 30th, I have not got any order in that.
And secondly, these 4.5 years must have been very harrowing for your family. If we talk about your son who last saw you when he was 6 months old, how is he coming to terms with it now, and how is your interaction with him? If you could...
Yeah, I think so. I'll avoid this personal question.
Is there anything else? In
your opinion, what causes rebellion among the disadvantaged? Is it economic disparity, or is it denial of criminal justice system, a functioning criminal justice system?
See, as a leftist, I would say economic disparity is one of the main reasons, but I think so society is quite complicated to just give one reason to it. There are various reasons. I'll give you an example of what is happening in Egypt out there now. It's so many factors that take place. Just to say one reason, just because economic disparity or just because of criminal justice, there are many factors. At some point of time, a certain factor may spark off something. But it depends upon the case. Definitely in the past few years, actually in the past say 10-15 years, economic disparity has grown to a big extent.
I just want to, paraphrase what he's saying, is whether the state's repressive apparatus is helping the state to control who they describe as their enemy, or is it actually helping the enemy to grow stronger? Because as far as I can see, the more repression they use, it works in the exact opposite manner from what they think.
I'll give you two examples. These last two examples, one is the Chandrapur case which was put on me, and now some arrests which have taken place in Pune. These are two places where there are organizations, people's organizations being run by good committed activists. Like I don't know about these items of Kabir Kala Manch which runs in Pune now, and many of them have been arrested. I don't know the facts about the case. But I can talk about the Chandrapur guys because many of them were accused. That was an organization that before the time they were arrested, they had nearly a 5,000 rally of just youth in a district center in Chandrapur. In a district center of Chandrapur, 5,000 is lots of young men. That it became a threat to the state. Immediately within 3 months, the state cracked on it, arrested the leaders, and now there is no organization like that. I think so the same thing is going on in Pune. Kabir Kala Manch, what I read from the papers, it was a cultural organization which mobilized many people, brought democratic culture to the fore, and now the state has cracked on it. It means the democratic space which should be given for a good democratic society is slowly being crushed and reduced to an extent. Yeah.
I am at this veranda normally like for afternoon, but in this case I won't be writing. So already somebody has been writing. The question I wanted to ask you is, during the course of your talk, you said something that the judge has passed strictures or judge has made some adverse remarks against the police officials in the state for repeatedly putting somebody behind bars, etc., with ulterior objective. Now such a clear-cut order is there and the mind of the judge is clear. What prevented the judge from initiating some motor proceedings? Up to today, has any judge? So isn't there a problem with the judiciary as well? That is one thing. Second thing is, this matter could have been taken on at Parliament under Rule 39 or under Rule 197, and if it doesn't fit there, you could have taken it under 337. Nothing that fits anywhere, calling attention, a short notice question, you can take it under 337. So what is the problem? If that doesn't suffice, you take it to international forum under clause 62 of International Public Law.
Definitely, it should be taken in the parliament. The parliamentarian should be asked this question. In the court, the same person has approached the High Court. His petition is pending.
So if it is sub judice, I've got the book in my bag. Excuse me, 1 minute. Matters sub judice also can be raised in parliament. I've got a ruling here with me right now. I can satisfy you and right now. This is just an excuse. We cannot raise this. This is sub judice.
I understand that you were going to sue the government for unlawful arrest. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Did you already talk about that?
No, I think. I know, actually.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, because this is your case. In the case of the Malegaon bombing, 6 Muslims were kept behind bars for how many years?
2007, 2006, 2007.
Again, and now they're acquitted and somebody else has confessed to crime. So what happens with this? So many years gone waste. I mean, how can one tolerate that? And what are you doing about that?
In fact, the criminal, which we are only talking about with regards to Arun's case, in fact, a writ petition has been filed, which is pending in the Nagpur bench of the High Court. It has not come up for hearing. The thing with regards to that petition is to look into this entire issue of having kept him in for so long, of him having been acquitted, and I mean, is that all? Or it's also looking at the question of compensation and this whole issue of rearrest. But the ultimate thing...
And as a deterrence for the future so that they don't do this to other people.
Actually, there is this rearrest issue has been filed in 2007 with regards to Malaysia, which has spoken first. But it's pending. This is the photographs are online. I can pass it down. This is a petition filed in December 2007, but it's pending up to date. Even the other person who is talking about, spoken about Nagpur, it's pending. I have actually the matter which has been about my petition has been basically about what has come in the press is about the compensation which I asked for. But I have asked for also that a judicial inquiry should be held into this practice, because it's a practice, means it has been a practice commented by the judge, and there has been practice which has been reoccurring. So unless there is some judicial, some actually sort of inquiry, this thing is going to continue. And the latest news is that people are rearrested.
Because it's not only the cases which are over, but it's also with regards to pending cases. I mean, you don't want people to stay in for 7 years and 8 years before the judiciary comes with some finding. So at least some authority to look into these cases. Are they false cases? Are they actual cases? Should they go through the entire process? Because otherwise, what does it make? You're just keeping people away as long as possible. Because by the time your 10 and 15 cases get over, Arun was lucky, it got over in 4.5 years. Somebody may be in for another 8 years, 10 years.
Members was the person who mentioned this, the judge was commented. He has been 8 years in jail as an under trial.
So Priya, you have a leftist ideology. Do you sympathize with the Naxals? Because violence is from both sides. So is there a sympathy towards the Naxal ideology?
We have laws in our country. I mean, I don't know, the provisions in our law are so rigid that somebody even who fights against any sort of eating up of democratic space, anybody who raises issues, dissents against the government, sadly could be called Naxal sympathizers and could be put in. That's how draconian the law is. You must have been reading about what happened to Vinayak said, what happened. Any voice of dissent which you knew, you would be labelled as a Naxal sympathizer, and that's why if you go to see throughout the country, there is this entire talking about draconian laws. And one of the most draconian laws you're talking about is UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which could just target you for whatever ideology you have. And could just lock you up and put you in. A journalist who would be maybe even questioning or interviewing somebody whom the state feels is a person who could be just picked up and kept. A lawyer, any professional, I mean, if you take up particular cases, could be called a sympathizer, could be called a supporter. So the whole thing is the way the state uses people. You could be called a sympathizer, you could be called a Naxalite, you could be labelled under different things to be put away and try to put them away as long as possible. So that is the entire scheme of the act. It's the entire pattern, it's the entire...
Actually, section 39 of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, this is the same section which has been put on Sunil Gowli. Just because he wrote a book, Support to a Terrorist Organization. I don't know how writing a book on the Naxal movement or writing a book on any movement talks about support. But section 39 has been put on him.
If you don't get a book, you don't get anything, then you just say funding.
The funny part of it, one of my co-accused in my Nagpur case, it has been acquitted now. He was charged because he had a copy of an interview of Telka magazine of Arun Ferreira. That is the reason why Utah was put on it. So you see the state, what passed this law is given.
I think one question is also about the violence.
Actually, I can't sympathize with people who are violent. Definitely, I'm not for state violence. But I think so. I believe in people's movements, and to write off any movement just because it's violent, or I think so, would be wrong. My personal view is that movements, to judge a movement, should be judged on the genuineness of a movement, how much it fights against the oppression. With regards to violence or non-violence, sometimes movements take a turn. I'll give you an example. What is happening in Egypt? What started in Tahrir Square was non-violent. It took a violent turn, then back into non-violence. Movements take those turns. But just to write it off, no, I support the part when it was non-violent. No, when it became violent, I did not support it. I think so. It's not a position that I would take.
अगर सरकार ऑपरेशन ग्रीनहाइट स्टार्ट करती है ऑफिस शुरू करती है
चालू ही है
चालू है लेकिन पूरी तरीके से जैसे एयरफोर्स का यूज करती है उसको आप सपोर्ट करते हैं
सरकार एयरपोर्ट यूज करेगा तो मैं सपोर्ट करेगा
उसमें आपका व्यू क्या रहेगा अगर समझ लीजिए पूरी तरीके से नक्सलियों को हटाया जाए यहाँ से पूरी तरीके से जैसे एंटी टीम को हटाया गया है श्रीलंका से
आई डोंट नो व्हाट आपके मन में क्या भ्रम है लेकिन मेरा अंदाज से हम 2-3 बार नेचुरली कोर्ट गया है कुछ भी गया हम देख रहे हैं कि वहाँ पे आर्मी भी आ रहा है वहाँ पे SRP भी आ रहा है सब कुछ आ रहा है तो वहाँ के स्थानिक जनता के लिए आर्मी का प्रेजेंस एक्चुअली चालू हुआ हाँ दे शुड बी एयरफोर्स शुड बी गिविंग चांस टू फायर अपॉन नहीं फायर अपॉन फायर इन डिफेंस ये सब चीज़ है मेरे ख्याल से वो जैसा वक्त आएगा स्टेटमेंट सैंक्शन देगा वो चीज़ के लिए लेकिन मेरा ख्याल से प्रैक्टिकल लोग के लिए वहाँ पे SRP भी आ रहे हैं, पुलिस भी आ रहे हैं, C60 भी है, आर्मी भी है, सब कुछ है।
वहाँ के गाँव में विलेजेस,
हाँ,
इनका प्रेजेंस आप
हाँ, डेफिनेटली।
Arun, you have done a course in prison. Can you talk about that?
I did a course in human rights, post-graduation diploma in human rights. It was from the Indian Institute of Human Rights in Delhi. And one of my cases was on political prisoners. Yeah, I had to do some field reports. Obviously, my field was just the jail. So I did on the jail conditions and such type of things. Basically, my political thesis was on political prisoners of India.
Why did you start the course in jail? Did you know that you are not coming out soon enough? Or
in the beginning, actually, life in jail was for the under trial. Just for the under trial, life in jail is a cycle of hope. You get into jail, you next hope that before a charge sheet is filed, you get bail. Then after some time, that hope just goes away. Then after it is the hope that after the charge sheet is filed, you get bail. Then after that, sometimes that also hope just slips away. It is the high court में bail मिलेगा. Then after some time, that also slips away. चलो जाने दो, कम से कम केस अभी acquit हो जाएंगे. So slowly realize that might as well go ahead and get acquitted. So in that sense, it was a 2-year course. So I realized that it would get completely.
So the jail authorities cooperated enough to let you work on things as basic as access to stationery or paper, let alone access to data or
and like I told you, there is a mixed attitude. Some of them are cordial and some of them help us. Some of them are very, they take their orders from top very strictly. They won't help us.
Any others who did the course with you, or you were the
No, because my family helped me out and they could pay the fees. I could do it. Otherwise, I probably more people than possible.
कब तक लगता है कि ये नेचुरल
एक्चुअली सरकार को पूछना चाहिए ये चीज़।
आपको कब तक लगता है अगर आपने साथ दिया तो?
मैं साथ देने का विषय नहीं आता है। समाज चेंज हो जाएगा, समाज में बदल आएगा, तो लोगों को नया समाज बनाने का कुछ जरूरत नहीं रहेगा, कुछ आंदोलन करने का जरूरत नहीं रहेगा। लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से ये अभी नजदीक का 10 साल या कुछ दिखते रहेगा।
Let's hope that we can speak to the state, do something, like what he's saying, he's filed a petition with regards to judicial inquiry to look into all the pending cases where people have been falsely implicated. I think we would achieve the end and have a good finish to this press conference. So let us even ask the state as to what they are looking into it and what they are planning to do with regards to all these cases which we have been. Thank you. Thank you.